Hey YouTube, how is it going today? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to give an update on my CleanSpark position. There are some pretty interesting things happening with the chart right now that I want to go over that I think could be leading to a potential big move up. And then after that, I have some other interesting trades that I want to show you as well. All right, well, let's get into these charts. The first one that I have up is CleanSpark's daily chart, and their ticker symbol is CLSK. I haven't done a CleanSpark video in a couple of weeks because, let's face it, the price action in the last few weeks has been rather blah, and I haven't seen any real earth-shattering news. Even though I have been keeping a close eye on CleanSpark, it is one of my bigger positions, so I'm very interested in the day-to-day movements of the stock. And in fact, I thought I was going to be able to pick some up around $10 a share a few days ago because it looked like it was headed towards it after that gap down. But unfortunately, it found a little bit of support and is now right back around $12 a share. So I'll have to patiently wait a little bit longer to potentially get some around $10 or a little bit lower. But what I wanted to talk about on this video is I saw a couple of things that I wanted to point out. The first thing is on their daily chart. And what I wanted to talk about was this balance of power indicator. Now, this indicator is proprietary to the TC2000 Warden Brothers software that I have up right here. So if you don't have the TC2000 software, you could probably substitute it with any accumulation distribution indicator because they're all rather similar from what I've seen. But with this indicator on the TC2000 balance of power, what it does is track trades that are 10,000 shares or more. So this is designed to track what institutions are doing, the bigger players in the market, the quote-unquote smart money, not the guys like me that are buying, this stock a couple hundred shares at a time. It's the guys that are buying large blocks. And if we look at this indicator, we can see that back in the summer of last year, it was under heavy accumulation. This is back when CleanSpark was a little bit more of a diamond in the rough, but you could definitely tell that it was under accumulation back here because you got these big spike up in price, and then it kind of falls right back down into the consolidation. You get another one, and it kind of falls back down. You'll see this a lot in charts. Before they go on a big run, they'll kind of go sideways for a while when they're under accumulation, and every once in a while you'll see just a random day when they kind of go up on big volume, but then they fall right back down to earth. When you see that on a chart, just realize that it's probably under accumulation, and you should dig a little bit deeper on that stock and see if you can find anything out. But back last summer, when it looked like all the supply finally dried up, it went on its run, and then the institutions kind of tapered off on their buying. It rolled over in September, and that's when the institutions started selling some. But then once CleanSpark got popular again, they started their accumulation again until they ran it up till to the peak that it had in January, and it's been on a slow downtrend ever since. And you can definitely see that in this indicator. All the peak buying happened just before January, and it just has been tapering off ever since until we had this little climax sell-off in March and April, and it's just kind of been drifting down ever since. Most of the volatility has come out of it. But if we look at this indicator, we can definitely see that the selling pressure is subsiding and the buying pressure is starting to pick back up. So I think institutions are starting to realize that this could be a diamond in the rough again. There's a lot of potential for this company next year, actually already, because they continue to add more and more Bitcoin mining machines. So their revenue has the potential to really explode next year, especially if Bitcoin either stays where it's at right now or if it increases. I think CleanSpark's revenue is just going to go through the roof. So I wanted to point this out. I think institutions are quietly starting to accumulate this one again, so don't get scared out of your shares. But let's go intraday. Let me show you what's happening near term. Let me get the stuff off here. Let me go to the 15-minute chart. It looks like CleanSpark is making a very clear bottoming formation. It looks like a lot of pressure is building up. We had that big gap down, and then it just kind of started chopping around until it made a little bit of a false bottom, and then a strong move up on some good volume, and it has been moving sideways ever since. I've heard this pattern referred to as a lava bubble or maybe just a saucer bottom. I think this one is more indicative of a lava bubble. And these things are very predictive for the next move up. I think if CleanSpark can break through this $12.05 area, I think CleanSpark could be off to the races again. I was hoping that CleanSpark had some options that were expiring either tomorrow or next Friday, but unfortunately they're a couple of weeks out, and the next level is $12.50. The CleanSpark's options, they don't go from like $12 to $13 to $14. They go from $12.50 to $15 to $17.50. So unfortunately, you don't have that flexibility with the strike prices. But man, if CleanSpark had some options that were expiring next Friday, I would be all over that $12.50 call, because I think this thing has a lot of potential to explode higher. And that's the type of move that you want to leverage with options. You don't have to risk as much, but if it does happen, the way you think it's going to, it has the potential for a really big payoff. But in the short term, this is a very bullish pattern for CleanSpark. All right, the next one that I want to talk about is OBSV. This one is making a very nice chart pattern at the moment, not only on the 15-minute, but also on the daily chart. As we can see on this daily chart that I have up right now, it's been going pretty much sideways since March. We had a little bit of a price breakdown here in July and August, but it rounded up nicely and jumped right back above those moving averages, and it has been holding it for the last couple of weeks or so. So this is very bullish. I think if we can get a move above, call it 330. I think this thing could be ready for its next leg up. But just looking more at this daily chart, we can see that we've had these price explosions followed by big volume. So this thing is definitely under accumulation. So I think a break above 330, man, could be a nice move for OBSV. If we go to the 15-minute chart, take a closer look at what's going on currently, we can see it's making a very nice rounded bottom formation. You can see there's more green spikes than there is red spikes, and certainly taller green spikes. So that's telling us that this thing is definitely under accumulation. And the fact that it's making this nice rounded bottom formation, or just a rounded cup, whatever you want to call it, after this decent sized move up, and it's consolidating at the higher end of the price range. That's telling you that there's still a lot of strength going on. And another thing that I really like is this false breakout right here. Statistically, that first breakout has a higher probability of failing than ones that follow it. So if you have a false breakout and it pulls right back into the consolidation and then starts to round back up, I like that better than one that hasn't had a false breakdown after, a move up. So usually on charts like that, I might take a little bit of a bigger position, just because the odds are a little bit better that if it does break out, it's going to be sustainable. It's going to be starting that next move up. But I think if this thing gets a break above, I'd probably call it 330 just to be safe. I think OBSV could be off to the races again, so I might be placing a buy stop right at like 331 to try to catch that next breakout. But OBSV is definitely looking really good at the moment. All right, the next one that I want to talk about is ENDP. Just more of an update on this one. We took this trade yesterday. But before I go any further, I do want to say that I am not a financial advisor. All this is just my opinion. Please make all of your own trading decisions. But we do have a Patreon. If you want to know what we are buying and selling in real time, there is the Patreon link down there in the description. But we bought this one yesterday on the breakout. Let me go to the 15-minute chart, show you what we saw in case you missed that on the other video. But this was kind of like what I'm seeing with CleanSpark. Has that move up, and then it's just kind of consolidating, making a little bit of a lava bubble, and you just want to put your buy stop just above that breakout point, because if you get that sustainable breakout, you know, you're buying it right near, you know, that breakout point, so you're capturing at least the beginning part of the move. Who knows how high it's going to eventually go when you're going to sell out, but at least you'll catch the beginning part of the move if it is a sustainable breakout. But we can see ENDP is still holding this breakout quite nicely, but I definitely wanted to show you this pattern because this is what they are supposed to look like. They don't always look like this, but this is what we are trying to capture on those type of patterns. So hopefully we get a breakout like that on CLEANSPARK and on OBSV. Now, if we go back to the daily chart, if any of you guys did take this position, we're certainly going to see some resistance right here at this price level. In fact, that's probably why we're hitting a little bit of a ceiling today, because there's some resistance from back in mid-July. And then we also have this 50-period simple moving average just above price. So don't be surprised if we do have a little bit more resistance in the next day or so. But if ENDP could explode through these areas right here, we got this gap fill coming up that's coinciding with that 50-period simple moving average. So that is what is concerning me the most. But if ENDP can blast through this area, and it looks like it definitely could. I mean, this is a pretty decent looking bottoming formation. We got a lot of volume coming in. So, and this thing has been trending down for quite a while. This thing has been going straight down ever since about $10.50 a share. So from peak to trough from a few weeks ago, this thing has retraced over 80%. So a move back up 50% of this sell-off is really not that big of a retracement move back up. So this thing could easily, you know, go up to this 200-period simple moving average right around 575 or so. I don't expect it to, because that is one heck of a move. But if it did, you know, it would only be retracing half of this move that it's made since last February. So I do think there is a lot of upside potential in ENDP, especially if we can get past this resistance area between, call it 340 and 350, which is, it's knocking on the door of that right now. So just a big move up tomorrow would be enough to clear all of those resistance areas. And this thing could be a big gainer if it can get through that stuff. All right, everybody, that's all I have for this one. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, or if you wanted me to take a look at any other stocks, please leave them down there in the comments section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.